Yo, mic check, 1 2 1 2. How y'all living, man? Hopefully y'all can hear me. Welcome back, Justin Henry Show. We early in the morning for me, for y'all at least. Early in the morning for me. This is a late night, man. How y'all doing? Hold on a second. I think I gotta get my mic in here. Hold on a second. I think I got the wrong mic on. Let's check it one more time. Mic check, mic check. All right, we in the game, bro. How y'all living, man? How y'all living? Welcome back, Justin Henry Show, baby. Been a minute, been a while for some of y'all. I see the chat is already live and popping. I'm just gonna leave the chat on stage, man. Leave the chat on stage, man. Your boy Justin checking in live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. That's right, Malaysia. I'm all the way on the opposite side, all the way on the opposite coast, man. It is 9:30 where I'm at right now. And I don't know if y'all can hear in the background, they got this guy be singing every single day at specific times in Malaysia. Is weird, bro. Over all the airways for everybody to hear at like 6 o'clock in the morning, my time, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and 9 o'clock in the afternoon. So if y'all happen to hear them, it is what it is. If y'all happen to hear fireworks, it is what it is. But shout out to everybody who got to the chat early, man. We're going to be talking about a lot today. I got about an hour of time, man. Got a lot on the agenda. I want to talk about NFL free agency, first and foremost. Got to talk about free agency coming up here on the 11th. Talk about first-round mock drafts. So some of you guys, been asking me about, who I'm going to take, or maybe it's been a while. You haven't heard my opinion on things. We had some notable names get cut recently, so we're going to talk about a first-round mock draft. And then also, there's been a couple trades in the NFL. We got to go over those. And then, Tua was cut, so we got a lot to talk about here. But first, let me get into the chat, man. We got NFL free agency on deck. Chat, how y'all living, man? Let me know how y'all living, man. Let me know how y'all living, man. How you been, Jay and David? I've been great, my man. Been great. Obviously, been traveling the world with my family, so things couldn't have been better for me, but things have been absolutely phenomenal for me. We awake, chat. Matt was good, bro. Yeah. Hopefully, I try to find a good time. I know this is like kind of early for my West Coast guys, but probably right in line for the East Coast guys. Maybe some of y'all stayed up on the West Coast. Was good. Finnegan was popping. Dolphins released Tua. Yes, going to talk about this here in just a minute. But yes, the Dolphins released Tua. All the OGs going to show up. Doesn't matter what time. Jayhan goes, man, I appreciate the love, bro. He returns. We get ready for free agency. You already know, man. And there's a lot. I think there's a lot of like important names on the free agency list that we got to talk about here because I think there's a big impact. I know obviously the draft is going to come a little bit later, but we got to get to some of these names. I got a few of them I need to talk about too. Dolphins need $99 million. That's the number? To cut Tua was $99 million? Shit. That's heavy. That's heavy. Sounds like Trey Hendrickson to the Cowboys. I can't believe, especially with with the trade that just happened with Max Crosby going to the Ravens. I can't believe the Bengals are letting Trey Hendrickson go. They must have like, we got to invest in this O-line. I got to feel they're going to be spending heavy on the O-line this free agency. But, Trey Hendrickson to the Cowboys, that's a good look for them, especially after losing Micah Parsons last year, going beef up that defensive line. Sounds like Cowboys might be in a better position than we think. Honestly, Dak lost his girl a couple of days ago. So, unfortunately, he might be in revenge mode for NFC East guys out there. Jayhan in the house, been so long. It's been a minute, man. How's life? Life is absolutely phenomenal, but definitely want to keep it fantasy football. Talked a little bit about my journey on the last episode, so I want to keep it football till probably the end of the show. So if you got questions about what I'm doing, like I said, I'm going to be on for about an hour. So if you got questions about what I'm doing, drop it in the chat, and I'll try to get back to it, all right? Yeah, it is 9:34 where I'm at right now. Shout out to my son Ty. Was good, bro. He watching in the chat. But we got to talk about free agency, man. Teddy, what's good? What's good? What's good? You the problem? What's good, man? Listen, NFL free agency. Let's get to it. All right. So big names available right now. I already talked about like Tyreek Hill, some of the older names, right? Like Kyler Murray, but I want to talk about some of the big names. I actually got asked a question on the comment section. If you guys ever got questions and I'm not live, feel free to ask them in the comment section of the live video or whatever it is, all right? But I'm going to get back to the questions in just a minute. But ask them in the comment section. I'll get to them right now. I got a little bit more time than I typically do during the season. So if you're wondering like dynasty or whatever it is, feel free to ask it in the comment section. But Kenneth Walker, surprisingly, Kenneth Walker was let go by the Seahawks. And to me, letting him test free agency just because you have Zach Charbonnet coming back next year was a little surprising. I know the team got rid of Clint Kubiak, but to just kind of let Kenneth Walker go without franchising him is a little surprising. Now, this must really mean they don't believe Kenneth Walker could be the guy, but it's like in the playoffs, we absolutely saw that Kenneth Walker can be the guy. And if y'all wonder what that is, that's fireworks. We literally got fireworks going at all times here in KL right now, in Malaysia. Like, it's because it's Chinese New Year. So it's up, bro. Like, if you see fireworks in the back, that's what it is. There's literally a soccer game. I don't know if y'all can see it. There's literally a soccer game going on right now behind me. So that shit'll be on till like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy. But Kenneth Walker, man, he's going to help out a franchise. And, hopefully, I think for the Seahawks, probably the hope is long-term. They can try to run it back with him next year. But for me, I'm a little concerned about him fantasy-wise if he goes somewhere else. Kubiak's offense was really nice. And I think Zach Charbonnet potentially missing the top of next year would have really worked in Kenneth Walker's benefit. But now we got to see where he goes. Obviously, you want to see him go to a landing spot where, like, he could literally be like one of the top threats with no backup. But I also think Kenneth Walker does well with a good backup. So it's kind of one of those catch-22s. I would love to see him like he was in the playoffs. I just don't know that he can hold up in a whole season for that. So I had a question come in about his dynasty value right now. Is he a buy or is he a sell? And I think before free agency, before he lands, I think this is a perfect sell high moment for Kenneth Walker. You got to remember, he was like RB2 status. He was RB2 status before Zach Charbonnet went out. All year, we were pissed off. Why isn't he getting the touchdowns? Why isn't he getting the touchdowns? And if he returns to the Seahawks, it's going to be the same situation. Zach Charbonnet is still going to be there. But if he goes somewhere else, potentially a new situation, there could be red zone work for him, especially for a team that pays him. But remember, he was also often banged up in his time with the Seahawks. So I'll be very careful when it comes to Kenneth Walker in free agency. That's my thought on him. I don't know if that's the kind of person I want to buy into running back wise, dynasty wise for the long haul. So that is my opinion on Kenneth Walker. I do think there's a world where he goes to the right situation, gets more red zone work, becomes the guy in a system. I find it hard to believe that he can handle the entire workload for a season. Always an oblique injury with him, something kind of like ab injury. He's questionable a lot, but when he's on, Kenneth Walker is one of them guys. Random trade just came in. So we obviously talked about Trey Hendrickson potentially going to the Cowboys, but we also got rumors of another trade. The Cowboys got Rashawn Gary for a 3rd-round pick from the Packers. Breaking news from my guy Tyson. So the Cowboys, if this is all true, nothing's finalized. Obviously, we had to go through free agency process. But there are some trade rumors and free agency signings. The Cowboys look like they're trying to beef up that defense, all stemming from the Micah Parsons deal last year. So this was Jerry Jones. He said they were going to be very active when it came to beefing up this defense and getting them some help. The offense is already stacked. If this trade is through, this defense is going to be kind of nasty. I know Rashawn Gary, he's not like an elite linebacker, but I still think he's a game changer, especially when you got that front four they're going to have next year. So big news right there. Cowboys get Rashawn Gary for a 3rd. Trey Hendrickson, obviously not franchised by the Bengals, expected to sign with the Cowboys. There were some rumors about Max Crosby going to the Cowboys. So very interesting there. They went and got shit done. Another name I want to talk about when it comes to the free agency is Travis Etienne, kind of the same boat as Kenneth Walker, in my opinion. And I think when it comes to, this free agency period in general, we got to make sure that, like, these guys go to fantasy-friendly situations. the one thing is, like, I think with Travis Etienne, if he just stays in Jacksonville, this is probably the best spot for him. Like, Kenneth Walker would probably go crazy in Jacksonville too. But I think Travis Etienne returning to Jacksonville seems like the best fit. The problem is you draft Bashal Tootin, you try to like find his replacement while he's there. Kind of never really bought in fully to Travis Etienne because that was Urban Meyer's guy to start. And it's like over time, now he's their guy and he's performed. It was a contract year. Are you going to pay him? And so I could see him going to a number of teams and kind of playing the alpha role, but having another good back behind him. Like, I could see him going. KC is obviously like the destination. Every single running back is going to be pinned with KC because they need one. But I think KC would be a really good fit for ETN. But I could also see him like taking the money and going somewhere else, going to a Cleveland and playing, alongside Quinshon Judkins next year. I could see him taking going to the Washington Commanders and kind of taking on the role there as a pass catching back, a threat with Jaden Daniels. So I could see some of these running backs kind of going to good spots, but like maybe capping their ceiling as opposed to the situations they were in last season. So Travis Etienne, probably for our fantasy teams, is still going to remain a high-end RB2 no matter where he goes. It's just, is he going to get the red zone touches, or is he going to be splitting work with another potentially young back or maybe a power back? Maybe it's like Arizona where you got a James Conner who just restructured his deal, and you have Etienne and Conner now a 1-2 punch. So very curious to see what Travis Etienne looks like. And I think it's going to be a very similar situation to Kenneth Walker, where they both maintain that RB2 type value. So which one do y'all think is more important for teams? Y'all think Kenneth Walker or Travis Etienne is more important? What do y'all think in the comments? Let me know. Yes, we're celebrating the Chinese New Year out here. It is the year of the horse. Like I said, the year of the horse. So I guess they throw off fireworks. I got some wild stories for y'all too, man. Like once we get like going here on the page, I got some crazy stories for y'all, shit that's been happening. But yes, it's Chinese New Year. We did not plan this out to be in Asia during Chinese New Year. We're actually in Thailand when it all kicked off, when Chinese New Year kicked off. And for some, like, we just happened to be there for one of the largest celebrations and times for Chinese New Year, which is in Thailand. I had no clue at the time, but worked out where we're getting fireworks all the time. The city's painted red. It's crazy. Crazy. Are you throwing trades? Are these real trades, Ty? Are these real trades, or are you just throwing them out there? Minka to the Jets? Minka went to the Jets? Minka to the Jets for a 7th? That happened today?
Yeah.
Damn. Teams are dealing right now. We have Minka Fitzpatrick traded to the Jets for a 7th-round pick. Long are the glory days. Long gone are the glory days of Minka Fitzpatrick. Are you trolling me right now?
No,
really? Damn, I remember Minka was going for like first and shit. Jalen Ramsey got traded from Minka. So Minka Fitzpatrick, obviously not the same talent anymore, that he was, but going to the Jets, interesting. After they got rid of Sauce last year, they're trying to rebuild this defense. Aaron Glenn taking a chance with Minka Fitzpatrick, hopefully can change a little bit of that defense there. That secondary needed some help. Some breaking news here. We had a lot of news. A little recap here. Trey Hendrickson expected to go to the Cowboys. Minka Fitzpatrick to the Jets for a 7th-round pick. And then Rashawn Gary traded to the Cowboys as well for a 3rd-round pick. I haven't seen the official, so if anybody else wants to confirm it, let me know. All right. And a couple more players I just want to rapid fire through real quick. Mike Evans. I thought a really good landing spot would have been the Bills for him, but obviously there's another big name that was just shipped to the Bills. So for Mike Evans, it kind of seems like going back to Tampa seems like the best fit for him. But I think any situation where he can get with an elite quarterback is going to make sense. It makes sense for Mike to finish his career in Tampa, though. Malik Willis, where do you guys want to see him go? There's been talks about the Cardinals. There's been talks about the Dolphins. Personally, I don't really think Malik Willis is NFL caliber star. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. I think he played well last year. But I don't think he's a starting long-term fixture, starting quarterback for teams. I think he can get the job done, and I think he's evolved a lot over his time. He was a development project when he was drafted. So I think Malik Willis does offer some upside for the team that does take him on. But $30 million? They talking about $30 million a year for Malik Willis? What is he? I mean, he played well in stretches last year when Jordan Love was out, but you have to really design an entire offense around him. And he doesn't really have the same passing upside as some of the other, quarterbacks that kind of fit that style. So for me, I could see Malik Willis, like maybe you're taking get him like 20 a year, you get 15 a year, you take kind of a gamble on maybe a 1-year deal somewhere. But to commit like a long-term-ish, 2 to 3 year, $30 million, it kind of reminds me of what teams did with Justin Fields. It just didn't work out. So I thought Justin Fields would play the part, but there's a reason why these guys were in backup roles. Guys were, the game's kind of changed, man, over the last few years. It's really changed to you got to have a dynamic passing quarterback. And I don't know. I don't really see Malik Willis like taking a team to the playoffs and, making a team a winning franchise. I could see him being serviceable, but that's a lot of money for Malik. So let me know what y'all think about Malik Willis, man. Other important names that I think we needed to talk about. Last one, Aaron Jones just got cut from the Vikings, so there goes another running back spot open. But Aaron Jones, a name has been good. He's been often injured. I think a team can use him, but he's probably going to be more of a complimentary back. If you have him in Dynasty, now's the time to let go. Deebo Samuel, another name I think for fantasy is somewhat important. He can go to the right situation and thrive. He is a free agent from the Commanders. But I think the Steelers seem like an interesting pick there, especially with Mike McCarthy as the coach over there now. If Aaron Rodgers does come back, he does love his slot receivers. So having DK on the outside, having Deebo there on the inside seems like a really, really good fit, in my opinion, if Deebo could go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, a couple things have also happened since we last talked. And this was like a week ago. If you missed the other stream, check it out. Talk a little bit about my journey. But if you missed the other stream, we talked about a couple things have happened since then. Number one, I think we now have a new rock solid number 1, number 2 pick in next year's fantasy drafts. Like, bar none. There's no other player you take besides these 2 players. Can y'all guess who those 2 players are? Literally, there's no other. You do not take any other player. I don't care what free agent signs. These are the 2 players. From the hat I'm wearing, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Tyler Algier is no longer on the Falcons. David Montgomery traded to the Texans. We're about to have fun this year with Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs. Whatever you got to do in Dynasty to get either one of those players for the next 2 seasons, we are about to have the shit we were hoping for last year. Bijan led the league in yards last year. Great season. If he would have had an extra 5 to 7 touchdowns, we would talk about a generational year from Bijan. Jahmyr Gibbs, we already know, without David Montgomery, he's probably he's the best back, if not the second best back in all of fantasy. Bijan, to me, is the clear number 1 pick. Jahmyr Gibbs is the clear 1B. You can't go wrong with either one of these 2. And I think, we're going to try to put Puka Nacua in their PPR leagues. We're going to try to put Puka Nacua up there. We're going to try to put JSN up there. Somebody may even put Jamar Chase over these 2. And to me, I think I was a little early. Well, I forget the Kanye quote off the top of my head right now. But a little early. Wasn't wrong. I was just a little early on Bijan generational year. It's coming. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs is also going to have generational year. I think the big question for both of these backs, unfortunately, it's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. It happens, even with young backs. The biggest question is, can both of them stay healthy? They will now have full workload, goal line work. The one thing that happens sometimes, I'm not going to say all the time, and I don't want to put that on either one of them. I'm just putting it out there for us in fantasy because we got to talk about it. A clean bill of health is important for both of these guys. We've seen in the past, like Saquon Barkley's got hurt. You see young backs all the time. They have strong years. Marion Hampton started getting cooking last year, got hurt. Like, there's sometimes we get speed bumps with younger players when we're expecting them to have generational years. And when you got 2 of those players now with full workloads and people are going to invest heavy in both these players, which they should, there's a small possibility that not both of these guys are going to make it through the full year. That's just what it is. I ain't mean hating, that's just what it is. Best case scenario, both of these guys stay healthy. We're talking about two guys that are going to be threatening for 27 to 30 points a game. Like, seriously. Both of them catch the rock with the best one. They're going to both be threatening for as many touches as possible. This is the time that they're both going to be looking for contracts coming up. You're going to get special years and special games out of Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs this year. Invest heavily where possible. The worst case scenario, I think, is one of them. It's not that they play bad. It's just probably gets banged up. It's just what happens. So I don't want to speculate on who. I don't really want to talk about it. We can talk about that another day. But I think for now, both of those two are very, very high on my board. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. And I think Bijan's the RB1. I just see with the Falcons, especially if Michael Penix is not available to start the year, or if the team decides they want to go get Kyler Murray, which has been rumors about Kyler Murray going to the Falcons, I think Bijan is the guy to take. Had the most yards from scrimmage last year. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to threaten for that as well. But I think with the Lions, they do so many things downfield with Jahmyr Gibbs. They do lean heavily on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta is a big part of the offense. There's bigger parts of the passing game. And whereas with Bijan, he's like the clear lead on that team. It's him and Drake London. And then Kyle Pitts is kind of like, the other, he's like Sam Laporta-ish. I think the passing game is a little bit more important to Detroit than it is to the Falcons. I think Bijan is a bigger part of the passing game volume-wise than Jahmyr Gibbs is, even though they're both up there. I'm not saying Jahmyr Gibbs isn't, but I think Bijan's going to, especially this season, is going to be a lot more important to this Falcons offense. So I would prefer Bijan. I am not mad if you take Jahmyr Gibbs, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Jahmyr Gibbs as the number one player, 30 points a game. That shit would not surprise me at all. I got Bijan. If you take Gibbs, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. I just think it's going to be crazy watching those two battle it out. All right, next up, I do want to go over. I haven't done this yet. Y'all ready? Fantasy football mock draft. It's time. First round, way too early. I haven't done it yet. Who do y'all think is my first round? Somebody guess who you guys think I got in the first round. I think the first round is going to be pretty wild this year. I think that there are some locked names. Like I was going through, I think Jettis is going to slip out of the first round. I think there's some names that we kind of got to just take out of the first round conversation right now. Unfortunately, shit, it is what it is. We got to take it out of the first round conversation. Like they just aren't first round players. So I think another player that I'm debating putting in here is Trey McBride. Trey McBride is just outside of my first round right now. I think Brock Bowers has the opinion to be up there as well. I think Brock is going to have a big year next year with Clint Kubiak. But you feel me? It's one of the things where I know for a fact there's a lock. I would say 10. I would say 10. I'll say 10. NFL Trey's going crazy today. You ain't lying. How you not reading the chat with 2 viewers, my friend? I don't really give a shit about the viewers, bro. Dime me your NFL. You can go to another page, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. You go to another page. I'm shooting the shit right now. I'm in Malaysia chilling. You go to another page. You feel me? It ain't that serious. We're gonna read some comments, bro. Chill the fuck out. We talking about my mock draft right now. That's why I'm reading comments. So number 12, James Cook is number 12 on the board. I think he's in a very similar situation to what he was last year. Probably going to be the same type of back this year. Obviously, they're running it back in Buffalo. Offensive coordinator Joe Brady is now the head coach. So it is what it is. We got James Cook, number 12. Devon Achane at number 11. Now, the number 11 pick to me is kind of weird because it kind of falls into the first. You got to just take whoever you want at that spot. I feel like the 10, there's a lock 10. And then number 11, Achane, it really depends on who they get at quarterback. Malik Willis to me is not intriguing. I know Tua's gone, so it depends on who they bring in at quarterback, but I think Achane has enough volume. And I'm not sure if I believe in this offense without Mike McDaniel. It's going to be a different offense. Devon Achane is there at 11, but things could change that for me very quickly. Number 10, Jonathan Taylor, who seemed to be like about to smash the number 1 spot. But then it's like he became so matchup dependent towards the second half of the year. I don't know. So I have him at number 10. And last year I was way higher on Taylor than most. I got him at number 10 right now. Remains to be seen what happens with some of these offseason moves. Number 9 is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know who he is as a player. He's probably too far down here. You know me, I chase upside. Number 8, we got Drake London. And I think Drake London's going to have a massive year yet again. He was on pace to be top 5 guy before he got hurt. So I don't know what he finished the season at. The J-Hand numbers will be back soon. But Drake London was on pace to be like one of the best receivers in the league last year. Got hurt for a little bit. I think he bounces back, whether it's with Michael Penix or it's with Kyler Murray or whatever quarterback they decide to go with. Drake London is my number 8. Number 7, here's where I probably lose some of you. Jayson. Now, it's not that Jayson can't be the number 1 receiver in fantasy. It's not that he shouldn't be worthy of the number 1 pick. I just think Jayson came off of an incredible year where Clint Kubiak had this offense looking crazy. Seahawks, it was their year. And I believe without Clint Kubiak, this offense is going to look different. I think things were hitting in a major way. And I think teams have a year of film now on Jayson. Now, you go get another cornerback. Trent McDuffie is now in the division. I think teams they're going to say, hey, look, we got to slow down what the Seahawks did last year. Jayson, number 7. CeeDee Lamb, I got him number 6. He was hurt early in the year, came back and was playing well. We had a lot of George Pickens. It looked like he was the guy, but towards the end of the year, we saw CeeDee Lamb. We saw CeeDee Lamb really kind of take over. So I think CeeDee will be back next year as the number 1 guy. He's my number 6. Number 5, I got Puka Nacua. Obviously, strong season from him. Push for 2,000 yards total in a year. But I still think he's the second receiver I'd want off the board. And I'll take Jamar Chase at number 4, who is the number 1 receiver that I would want off the board. Jamar Chase, I think he provides like so much upside on a week-to-week basis. The only problem I see with Chase is that sometimes he's like up and down, depending on what T. Higgins is doing. But I think with this offense, especially with the new addition there, Max Crosby on the Ravens, I think we're going to see a lot of Jamar Chase getting force-fed. They got to get the ball out a lot quicker. I think the Bengals know they got to invest in this offensive line. Number 3, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, you got to worry about the age with him. That's really the only reason he's probably not higher, but he's not like the 1C. You have to just kind of worry about the age when it comes to Christian McCaffrey if Trent Williams re-signs. So there's a couple things there with McCaffrey, but as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be elite. Jahmyr Gibbs at number 2, Bijan number 1, as I talked about early. So I think the 1 and 2 interchangeable. I think the 3 through 10 is not – it's not a crazy difference between these guys. The receivers are all very similar to me, and I think the running backs aren't too far off. They all provide different things. So let me know what y'all think about my top 12. Let me know what you think about my top 12. Matt, I had to let him know, bruh. I had to let him know, man. He said, cool, peace. Hope I never see you again, my dog. If it wasn't, it'd be too soon. What time does free agency officially start Eastern time? Listen, it's hard because back home I live in the Pacific time zone. Then out here, I am 15 hours ahead. We just had daylight savings the other day. Not here. Here was regular. So I was 16 hours ahead. Now I'm 15 hours ahead. So the time for me, when you ask Eastern time, I don't know. Let me check for you, bro. Let me check for you. Let me check for you. Let me check for you real quick. So, like, for me, you guys are just starting Monday. Monday's damn near over for me. I'm about to be on Tuesday. When I wake up, it's like middle of the day. Monday for you guys, it'll already be Tuesday. I'm in the future, bro. Free agency starts 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern. Wait, so is Trey not going to Dallas or they got both? Because the report said for real this time. I don't know. I'm online with y'all. Let me check. So let me pull it up. Let me do my due diligence. I ain't seen nothing on any of that because this all happened as I've been on live. I've been getting the info. It's just a rumor. Rumor from Sleeper, they said Trey Hendrickson will join the Dallas Cowboys. This was an hour ago. They said, per Ricky Scoops, Trey Hendrickson will join the Dallas Cowboys. This didn't age well in a very short amount of time. So I don't know. Sleeper said it was – Sleeper posted it. And then the Rashawn Gary deal happened. So who knows if it's real or not? Who knows if it's real? But Sleeper posted it, so I don't know. I don't know if that trade is real or what. And then the Minkah Fitzpatrick deal is a 2026 7th-round pick. They're signing him to a 3-year, $40 million deal. So, it says, welcome back, Ricky Scoops. Who is Ricky Scoops? Something went wrong. Damn, he got his account. Oh, he's a fake news guy? That's hilarious. So is Ricky Scoops like a troll account? I don't know what – Sleeper was just reposting a bunch of Ricky Scoop stuff, so be careful. I don't know what Sleeper's doing, but Sleeper's doing something with Ricky Scoops. What the fuck? What is Sleeper doing? Why is Sleeper trolling? What is Sleeper doing? They posted this dude Ricky Scoops, and then maybe they're just having fun, bro. I don't know. If it don't say Adam Schefter, if it don't say Jay Glazer, if it don't say Ian Rappaport, don't believe it. Don't believe it. All right, a couple quick fire before I get back into what I got. Thoughts on Dehan, BTJ, Neighbors? Do you think Bijan Gibbs in the 1 and 2 next year? If so, who's 3? So I just did that. CMC, obviously my number 3. Bijan and Gibbs, yes, are the clear 1 and 2 for me. Luka. Shout out to Luka. Thoughts on Derrick Henry? I think Derrick Henry, obviously we're starting to see some of the effects of not just age, but just the usage overall. This Ravens offense losing, you know what I'm saying? Todd Monken's gone. John Harbaugh's out of there. So it's going to be a different offense. And, I don't know. I think Derrick Henry is still – I think he's age-proof, but it's just he don't catch the football. And, his Ravens team, if Lamar gets banged up, it's kind of like they're a different team. So I think Derrick Henry is who he is. He has strong games against bad defenses. And I think teams that focus in on stopping the run, he kind of hurts your team some weeks because he's, 15 carries for 60 yards. So I think Derrick Henry's kind of been that most of his career. It's just we've seen a lot more 100-yard games or touchdowns out of him than not. I think that's going to just slow down a little bit as age goes on. But I still think he's a decent RB2 to have. Brian Thomas Jr., good question here. I like this. Hey, I like this trio of players you put up here. Good job. Dehan, BTJ, Neighbors. So I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a very interesting case because we saw the flashes rookie year of elite talent. The problem I see with Brian Thomas now is that he went through a sophomore slump, but the team thoroughly addressed the receiver position, going and signing Jacoby Myers to a long-term deal. You also already have Parker Washington kind of take a bigger role. So it's where does Brian Thomas really fit in this offense now? So I think when it comes to Brian Thomas, he was a player that I was really excited about. And normally, to be honest, I don't really be buying into younger players after one good season. Normally it takes a while, but when you got 6'4", you got 4'3", 40, jump out the gym, it's okay, and the touchdowns were there. He had the touchdowns in college. The profile was speaking to me. It was okay, you broke out. Even a bad second season for him would have been should have been a top 10-ish type receiver, and it wasn't. So I think my biggest concern with Brian Thomas is that they have other receivers there now. My thought process, though, is that when you have a young player like Brian Thomas Jr., you want to get him involved. It makes your offense more dynamic. Downfield, you get his confidence going. He's not having the drops that he had last year. It just makes the offense better. And the Jaguars, they could have been a Super Bowl team this year. So it's I feel like they're not too far away from really kind of putting everybody on notice in the AFC. If they can get Brian Thomas, they can get a running back there, they can get Brian Thomas going. So I think Brian Thomas still has a lot of upside. It's just there's too much risk to take him earlier than high-end wide receiver 3 right now. So I think in Dynasty, he's a great buy low candidate. If you're expecting what he did his rookie year, I think that the margin for error is just really low. So he's a player you have to buy in and say, okay, I think that he can reproduce similar numbers at some point in his career. That's what I think you're hoping for, because if he looks the part next year, the price is obviously going to go sky high. Even if he just looks the part, he's high-end wide receiver 2, mid-tier wide receiver 2. So, and then Malik Neighbors. I'm kind of scared of taking Malik Neighbors. I am. I'm not fully confident that he's going to be back to 100% when the season starts. The reports are that he's going to be available for training camp, which is good. You want to hear that, but then there's also confirmation like that's not something that's just purely locked in, which is, for me, very scary when it comes to Malik Neighbors. Like, otherwise, if I knew Malik Neighbors would be available week 1, not PUP, not IR, fully healthy, full bill of health, I would have to put him in my top 12. But because we don't know that yet, I'm kind of scared to go anywhere near Malik Neighbors next year. Like, I know at some point he'll be back, and it's also going to be a new offense. So now he has to learn John Harbaugh's offense. This is going to be a brand, he's going to have to do this in the offseason, brand new offense. To me, he has the upside of being like a top 3-ish receiver. I would just want to see him, I think, in the top of the first, the top of the second, back into the first round. I'd want to see somebody a little healthier coming into the season. That's where I'm at with Neighbors. So I think when it comes to redraft, I probably will miss the boat on Malik Neighbors, and that could be one of those players that I do with Puka Nacua and Jason last year. I could just miss on a Malik Neighbors. But I think there's very similar caliber talent that you don't have to have those question marks with as far as health, new offense, everything in general. So I could miss on Neighbors, and I'd be fine with it. Good question, though. Team Lemon, he won't put in my flat flag. Who? What you talking about? You talking about Sharps coming off the injury late? What are your thoughts on Jennings leaving San Francisco? If he stays, he's a buy. If he leaves, I don't know. I think Juwan Jennings, one of those classic players, needed a contract, is in a contract year, played well enough to get one, is going to get a contract and probably fade away. I don't really believe in Jennings being like an elite player fantasy-wise or even relevant player fantasy-wise. He seems like one of those guys, kind of was under the radar, had a couple good seasons, threatened for 1,000 yards, and we probably won't hear much of Juwan Jennings after this year. Like, maybe he's Jacoby Myers at some point in his career where he's like hovering over 1,000, around 1,000, 5 to 6 touchdowns a year. Maybe he's that. I think that would be asking a lot of Juwan Jennings and whatever team brings him in. But I think even if he stays or he goes, I'm not really interested in Juwan Jennings at all, actually. Not wide receiver 2 or 3. I think he's more of a flex type player. Gabe, what's good, bro? You already knew. Bijan and Gibbs, the 1 and 2. The 1 and 2, man. Listen, let me get back to what I have for today. Max Crosby. Max Crosby went to the Ravens. Good call. Hey, who is that? A B? Yo, good call on that. That was perfect timing on that. Perfect segue. Max Crosby got traded to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks. The Raiders picked up an additional first this year and a future first. I think gave them the 14th pick this year, so they got the number 1 pick and now the number 14. So good for the Raiders. But this Ravens team picking up Max Crosby is going to be an elite defense next year. I think it's a scary sight now. Everybody's going to say how much help does Lamar need, and obviously like the Ravens have fallen short many times, even last year. Like, they probably should have been in the playoffs and beat the Steelers, but we all saw what happened in that last game. Probably should have been them in the playoffs instead. But it feels like with this Ravens team, if they're healthy, this is going to be a scary team in the AFC. We say that every year, but with Max Crosby there, it's like this thing might have just turned up even more. And the funniest part about this all was literally, y'all had to have seen it. If you haven't, make sure you check it out. You can lead a stream. Go check out the clip. I wish I had the clip up. I would have just played it right now. But Jamar Chase found out about this on live. He was live streaming. And Jamar Chase found out about it. He was like, he started panicking. I mean, the LSU came out of Jamar Chase. He was like, oh my God. They got Max Crosby. And he got his accent going and everything. And he was panicking. You could literally hear the fear in Jamar Chase's in his voice. And I'm like, he got to go up against now 3. Every time they play in the AFC North, they got an elite defensive end there playing. Every time. You got TJ, you got Garrett, and now you got Max Crosby. I feel bad for Joe Burrow, but I think it's going to help out Jamar Chase in general. But that video was, I mean, he was like, it was pure fear in his voice. You could hear it. You could hear he was like literally sweating that shit out. And I'm just like, for this Bengal team, man, they had aspirations years ago, making a Super Bowl. I just don't see it. You lose to Trey Hendrickson now. I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it with this Bengals team. What are they gonna do? What are the Bengals gonna do? They're not as good as the Ravens. Put that out there. Not as good as the Ravens. The Steelers are gonna be in the playoffs damn near every single year. And at some point, the Browns are gonna turn things around. It's just a downtime for the Browns. Like they go sign a Kyler. They go, Shador plays a little bit better. Maybe Deshaun comes back. I don't know what the fucking Browns are doing, but that defense is good enough. What happens now with the Bengals? Like, the Bengals are going to have to blow that thing up, I think, in a couple of years. Unfortunately, have to blow that thing up in a couple of years. But that, if you haven't checked out the video, check it out. It's Jamar Chase on live stream. Jamar Chase reaction to Max Crosby was hilarious. Another important piece, we got DJ Moore getting traded to the Bills, happened a couple of days ago. And I think it's a really impactful deal on multiple levels. First, we got DJ Moore going to the Bills. And this turns him from a not reliable wide receiver 3, somebody that would have peak weeks, you're unsure if you start, to now, I mean, as the lead guy for this Bills team, we're probably talking about a high-end wide receiver 2 now, with weekly upside for more than that. Josh Allen will force feed a guy when he wants to. Like we kind of saw Khalil Shakir, he had strong weeks. They tried it with Keon Coleman, it just didn't work. But we've seen him have go-to guys. And the good thing about DJ Moore is he could play all over the field. So he reminds me kind of like a high-end version of what Khalil Shakir brings. And I think DJ Moore is about to go crazy. So I know the hope is that, Joe Brady gets a little bit more out of Keon Coleman as a head coach. It's what's been out there promised. I think Keon Coleman will bounce back. I don't think it's this massive resurgence to where he was drafted. But I do think Keon Coleman will play better. And, the Cam stuff is funny, all the memes with Cam Newton, but I think Keon Coleman will play better. But I think for DJ Moore, his fantasy value obviously went up in an incredible way. So DJ Moore, I'm curious to see where he goes in drafts, but I think he's more of a top 12 to 15-ish type receiver than like wide receiver 3. I think he's more high-end wide receiver 2. My light went out. Shit was blinding me anyway. Hopefully it stays on. If it don't stay on, we're going to have to adjust. We also had Tua Tagovailoa lower release. Light died. We also had Tua Tagovailoa lower release when the stream started. So, damn it. There we go. We had Tua Tagovailoa released once the stream started. And so when it comes to Tua, obviously, if you're worried about do I trade for Tua? I just don't know where he goes and starts. I think he'll have an opportunity to compete, right? But if you can't start in Miami, who needs a quarterback, obviously the team needs a fresh start, new coaching staff in place, but you can't start there. Where are you going to start? That's my question. If a bad team won't let you be their starting quarterback, what good team is going to come in and let you be the quarterback? Like the Jets aren't going to want Tua. Every year they see that. And they're like, nope, you got the head issues with Tua. So I talked a little bit about that on the other stream. I don't really see a world where Tua goes to a team and has value. That's the problem. I just don't see it. I think Tua is one of those players who plays well at times, but is too inconsistent for NFL franchises to trust. And then especially, you have to buy into the injuries with Tua. So unfortunately, I think he serves best as a backup, somebody that can come in, kind of play like a Jimmy G-ish type role. I could see him going to a team that has, another quarterback, another strong quarterback that he could go and learn from and kind of take on maybe a backup role and just kind of give him time to be in a different offense than that Mike McDaniel offense and see where that leads him. So for me, maybe you go to like a Minnesota, you compete with JJ McCarthy if he's not playing well. I don't really buy Tua being relevant really at all. I think those injuries he suffered, not just in college, but just over, his first few years in the league, it's like, you hate to see a player go through that. I just think it's time. I think it's just time to kind of call it quits on Tua being relevant as far as the NFL. I hate to say that, but I don't want to give up on a player. Like, I would much rather, if I'm a team looking for like potential at quarterback in a younger player, a player who's in their younger years, I would go like a Will Levis. I think Will Levis has much more upside than like a Tua. I think Will Levis, to be honest, has more upside than even like a Malik Willis. Like, Will Levis didn't play bad. He just got replaced by Cam Ward. I don't think he played terrible as a rookie. So I'm kind of surprised Will Levis, outside of the injury last year, obviously, just hasn't been a little bit more talked about. But I can see Will Levis being like a good buy low candidate in Dynasty as well. All right, back to the comments, guys. Back to the comments. Let me see. Do you think the Giants trade Thibodeau? I don't know about that. I don't think they do that. It just depends on what Harbaugh. I don't know what Harbaugh is doing over there. So it depends on the direction they want to go. I don't think that happens. Thoughts on CJ Stroud? I think CJ Stroud is who he is. I think he's more of what he was last year than he was his rookie year. I think a lot of people just kind of jumped the gun on CJ Stroud, wanted to call him the next great quarterback. I think his upside's more like Dak. That's just purely what I think. I think he'll have some strong stretches of games. Eventually he could be like if you're talking fantasy, he could be like a top 10-ish consistently type guy. I just don't really see like top 5 in his future. But I think when it comes to CJ Stroud, I think it looks better visually than it does plays for fantasy. And I think getting like a Tank Dell back, if they somehow are able to address this offensive line and make it a little bit better, if they're able to get another, he drafted 2 receivers last year. You got Jaden Higgins, who kind of came on a little stronger towards the end of the year. I feel like this team, they need more help on the offensive line. I feel like CJ just kind of is who he is at this point. I don't really see a lot. I know he can grow and get better, but he already came in really polished. I don't really see like a lot of ceiling, I would say, for CJ Stroud. I think in real football, it's very similar. I just don't know that he's like, even with that defense last year, I don't know that CJ Stroud is the guy that can take them to the Super Bowl. That's what I think. I think they would need a major offensive line overhaul. That's what I think. Amon-Ra boring, but he's got upside. 3P, wide receiver 3. Yeah, I have him as my 4 or my 5. It's just he's boring and he's trending the wrong direction because you got J-Mo. I think he was wide receiver 3 this year, but am I tripping, or was it a lower wide receiver 3 than normal this year? I think that's right. Right, like the point wise, like he didn't have a strong year, but it was still wide receiver 3. Am I getting that right? I'm gonna check right now for you. So this year he finished with same numbers. He had 324 points, wide receiver 3. Last year had 316 points, wide receiver 3. Same numbers. Yeah, I mean, and he was, I don't know, man. He is boring. He's boring and he's good. I would just say that's a big problem for me. Like I don't draft a lot of St. Brown. I look for a little bit more upside, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. At some point I'll be wrong. Years down the line, I'll be wrong when it comes to St. Brown. And I'll be like, see, I told you. But it's like I think he is a player that I just look for a little bit more upside. He's one of the safer 1,300 and probably 10 touchdown guys that there is in the league. So you're probably right. CD is sneaky buy low in Dynasty. I don't know if you could buy. I don't know if he's sneaky. I don't know if he's sneaky. Noon technically is it? I saw 4 p.m. Eastern, so noon technically. Noon Eastern. Trey know better than me. I just did a quick Google search. So who are guys to buy low on in Dynasty? Good question here, Ty. I don't know if I can get too much away. I'm in the league. You in the league with a lot of these guys. I don't know if you want me to, you know what I'm saying, get that away right now. But I think in Dynasty, one of the things I always look for is young players who've already shown that they can be good. They've already shown the talent, but what happens is they have a bad year, or they are a high draft pick rookie, somebody that's a top 3-round pick, and maybe they didn't have the rookie year that everybody wanted them to have, right? They either got injured or maybe they had some bad plays that showed up on tape. But what I look for is like guys that have proven that they can be talented and just maybe had like kind of a rough stretch of games. So like a player that I really like to buy on, like I think Keon Coleman is the type of player, he just hasn't shown the talent that you wanted to see. And then they obviously got, like, you go get DJ Moore. That's a player I like. I wouldn't buy at an extremely, like, low. I wouldn't buy him at a high price. I'd buy him at a lower price. But, like, I'm not going in, like, I'm not trying to super invest in Keon Coleman. He's just a player I like. I would buy for a low. Another player I would buy for the low is, like, you talk about, like, a Marvin Harrison, right? Dealing with the injuries. We saw Michael Wilson, kind of take over late. You're going to have a new quarterback there, new head coach. So I think Marvin Harrison is another type, like Brian Thomas. I talked about him earlier. Those are guys that have proven, okay, you got the talent. We just need to see you kind of thrive. It's kind of like buying Kyle Pitts a couple years ago. Everybody was like, oh, Kyle Pitts, he's done. I hate drafting Kyle Pitts. And it's like he was the tight end 2 this year, finally showed what he was capable of. Not every rookie, not every young player comes in and hits immediately. And as fantasy players, that's been the expectation out of late. You see a guy like JSN who was drafted very high. You got him as a top 10 pick, and then took him a couple years to become the best receiver in the league. So I think when it comes to like buy low, I'm definitely looking for like the younger players who show flashes of being really good players. They show flashes of it. Maybe I haven't put it all together, because when year 3, year 4 hits, maybe contract year hits, now you have talent. So I think for me, it's the younger players who either A, were rookies, high draft capital, haven't had a chance to prove it yet, or B, younger players who have shown flashes and maybe showed disappointment last season, Rome Odunze. And then when it comes to older players, I think older players are at a massive discount. If you're a win now team, send those 3rd-round picks, future seconds. You can send that for like older players who a lot of times we tend to give up on them too early. Matthew Stafford, I did this in a couple years ago. I gave up on Matthew Stafford a little too early, right? I had Matthew Stafford and George Pickens. At the time, Pickens was in Pittsburgh still. He didn't really show much more than like high-end wide receiver 3 upside. And I traded him away for like Stephon Diggs, who I think he was either just about to get traded to the Texans or maybe had already been traded to the Texans, and a 2nd-round pick in Will Levis. So I was looking for upside at the quarterback position. I didn't have a quarterback. I was looking for upside at the quarterback position, and then also kind of buying low on a guy in the prime, Stephon Diggs, before the injury. So I think when it comes to buying low, you could look for some older players, but we tend to give up on the older players a little earlier, like Travis Kelce. I'm sure a lot of people traded him or, got rid of him a couple years ago, expecting the downfall. Derrick Henry, some players probably 2-3 years ago, traded him for the low. McCaffrey, probably people gave up on him last offseason. I think we're quick to give up on older players because, the end does come pretty fast with those guys, but A.J. Brown's another guy I think you can buy low on, like in his prime right now, maybe changing situations. I don't know. How you got the dynasty wide receivers ranked? Lemon, Tate, Tyson, Omar, Boston, and KC. Listen. I ain't there yet. Let me get to the draft. Let me get to the draft first. I know some of you guys have dynasty leagues where you draft before the draft. I'll try to be a little bit more ready for that, like come a week or 2 before the draft. All right. So I'm not quite there yet, just to be honest. All right. And it also depends on, for me, it really depends on like where they get drafted to. I talked about that last stream. Like, I think, the combine is one thing. But it's a different situation when they get drafted. Because then when they get drafted, all that combine shit goes to the wayside, and it's how can we find a role for them sooner than later? Because you want your pick to hit immediately. That's what everybody wants. So I think trying to rank them right now, unless you're drafting before the draft, doesn't really make sense. It doesn't. And Trey, I already know you're going after Jordan Tyson. I already know. I know. I've played in enough leagues with you. Had seen you in the chat. I know Jordan Tyson's your guy. Jay Hen, I've been watching you since 2022. Shout out to you, Will, my guy. Said, I can confirm I am now a fantasy football champion. I won in both of my leagues this year, 10 and 12, man. Let's get it. Listen, how many of y'all won your leagues this year? We haven't had that chat either. How many of y'all have won your leagues this year? And if you're watching the stream later on, let me know in the chat if you won your league, man, because your boy was gone for the second half of the year, but it seems like the work we did earlier in the year and the first few weeks of, I was here till like week 9. So what we did up until week 9 did y'all good. I got a lot of love, like, hey, I won my league, which is the shit I want to hear. Seems like the draft guide worked, and then the streams up until I kind of, pulled the plug a little bit. Seems like it did y'all well. So good job, Will. And hopefully, you run it back next year. You think Michael Penix is y'all franchise quarterback? Nah, man. It's not y'all. I'm not a Falcons fan. I just got the hat on. But I don't know. My tune might be changing on Michael Penix, man. I was really high on Penix, and I don't want to just give up on the kid because I still think he has a lot of time, but the best ability is availability. And, seeing him go down again, and now you have a head coaching change, I don't know, man. And especially if they are talking about Kyler, or if it takes him a few weeks to get, ready, Penix, if you're talking PUP, you're talking IR to start the year, if he's out for 6 games, like, I don't know, man. So when you say y'all, that don't really offend me. I'm not a Falcons fan. But when it comes to Michael Penix, I was high on Michael Penix last year. And man, it was disappointing. He had flashes of it, but Tua gives me Steeler vibes. I agree with that. I can see him or Kyler, like, taking 1 year behind Aaron Rodgers, learning the offense. 4 p.m. is technically the day they can officially sign, Wednesday, but the tampering period starts noon. Okay, bet. Gabe said I won 3 and won 2 last year. Shout out Jay. Gabe, bro. Gabe be killing them leagues, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Gabe is like, I would say, Gabe, you an elite player. I gotta imagine you an elite player, bro. Like you probably could go in some big money leagues, Gabe. Because every league you in with me, I'll be seeing your name at the top of the list. Next to my name. Any super flex sleepers? Let me go through sleepers, buy lows. We'll have all that this offseason, man. I don't got nothing off the top of my head right now, Luca, but this channel, bro, I will have loads of sleepers. We'll have the draft guide, we'll have training camp, fantasy football training camp coming later this year. So let me get to, I'll say this for those, those who know, but like until about May, I won't be full. I'm still J-Hen, but I won't be full J-Hen where I got stats coming up. I know everybody finished like rapid fire without looking nothing up. When I get back in May, I got 2 months and I'll be back. When I get back in May, it's up. I'm ready. I'm so ready, bro. Like I ain't get to watch as much football last year towards the second half of the year. Being out here, I've been on vacation. It is up next year. Next year, and coming off of, like players have bad games. Players have bad games, they make up for it, right? Well, I would say last year for me, fantasy-wise, was a down year. Like I would say that was a down year, like early season, prediction-wise. I would say that was a down year. I think I still hit on 56%, which is a low number for me. Normally I'm like 65-ish % of my predictions. I think I only hit on like 56 or something like that %. I got to go check the numbers again. I think it was 56 though. But that's a low number for me. For somebody who gives out advice, and I could blame it on the randomness of last year, a lot of the injuries, but it wasn't my strongest year. It will be next year. Next year will be my strongest year. No doubts about it. I'm ready, just so you know. Just so y'all know. Next year is going to be up. Next year is up. I promise y'all that. I promise y'all. I cannot wait. True, landing spot and film matters the most. Nah, I'm a lemon guy. Okay, bet. We're going to see how it all matters, though. Like, I think, yeah, the combine and me don't matter, but, like, Lemon, I thought for sure you'd be like Jordan Tyson, bro. I thought for sure you'd be. I thought the light skins rock together, bro. I thought y'all light skins rock together, bro. Spencer said I won. Let's go, baby. I came in second in all 4 leagues. CMC hurt me in 3 of the 4 finals. Damn, you was in 4 finals too, bro? Second in all 4 leagues. That's crazy, bro. Tucker Jones winning Tyler Health League year 1 and Fantasy Streets League year 1. Hey, we need to create a new league so that way you can win year 1 again, right? We got to get you the bigger money league, bro. Like, hey, y'all want to do a big money league with me, let me know. I'm telling you, next year it's up, bro. Only won 1 of mine this year, but thankfully it was my bigger money league. Drafted way too much Jettas. Yeah. I feel Jettas is going to be – Jettas is a hard player. Because if he's there in the 3rd round, I will literally push the price up on Jettas myself this offseason. There's no chance Jettas is in the 3rd round, right? Right? I got to look at – see, I haven't seen – thankfully for me, like, I'd be away from, like, other people's rankings. So I haven't seen where, like, other people are ranked people yet. And one thing I'm going to do is look at ADP here very soon, probably after the draft. Because I'm sure, like, Jeremiah Love's going to be top 15-ish type guy, depending on where he goes. In real football, he'll be top 10. But I think top 15 in fantasy. And I think that the old guys are going to get penalized a lot this next year. Like, I think Devontae's going to – I think a lot of these players are going to get penalized because everybody's going to be looking for the next Puka and the next JSN. I think some of these older players are going to get penalized. Everybody is going to be looking for this is this year's JSN. This is this year's Puka Nacua. Romo Dunze is this year. We gonna see, bro. Hampton thoughts. I think Amarion Hampton with Mike McDaniel is going to do numbers. I think he belongs probably as a top 20 pick. I haven't gone through every single player. But I for sure think he'll be a top 20 pick this year. I think he deserves it. He'll get a lot of red zone work involved in the passing game. Mike McDaniel will use him in that role. I can see Hampton. Hampton might have like a top 5 finish next year. I think it's up for Hampton. Honestly, I don't know if I'm there yet at March 9th. 10:30 my time. I'm not there yet. But I can see myself by the time the season starts putting Amarion Hampton like over Devontae Chan. I can see him being like back in 1st round pick. I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I will get there. But I can see him finishing like top 5 this season. I think the thing that hurt everyone was the wide receiver stunt. Yeah, especially if you invested heavily in the receiver position. We had a lot of injuries there. Just in general, it was a tough year for receivers. Outside of those 2, it was like if you had JSN and Puka, you got carried throughout the year. If you had Brian Thomas, you had Jettas, you had a lot of other guys. It was definitely Malik Neighbors. It was a tough year for receivers. So you're right. You're right about that. Jahan, why not? What's good, bro? He said, where did you go last season, Midway? Can I get an update on where you are? What's up? I was looking for your channels for advice towards the end. My guy. So, a quick recap. I talked about this on the last show, but I am currently in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So, it's nighttime. I am 15 hours ahead now. Was 16 hours ahead before the time change. So, I have been on a journey with my family. We have had an incredible year. We left in September last year. We left, got out of California and decided to take this year overseas and really travel the world. Like I'm 40 years. I turned 40. Actually, I didn't get to celebrate my 40th with you guys, but I just turned 40 in December. And this was a pivotal time for me in my life. Like I've really never experienced a whole lot of travel. So thankfully had the opportunity to do that. I homeschooled the kids, had an opportunity to go overseas, and we took that advantage, or we took that opportunity and took advantage of it. So early in the season, I was still in Europe. So we started off in Portugal, went to Spain, went to France. But as the trip got on, I wasn't even able to access the games. There's this thing called The Zone out here. That's the app you use for the games. And I wasn't even able to watch the games after we left France. So it was very tough for me. I was trying to find ways to watch it, and it was tough to like even try to give the right type of advice because I wasn't able to watch the games like I typically do. Like they had Red Zone, but I typically like to watch all of the games. So your boy was on a world tour, and it was kind of like I didn't have access the same way that I normally do. I didn't have access to like betting lines, which I use that information sometimes. I didn't have the time to even research. So I didn't want to, week 9 came, and I was like, man, like I didn't even feel comfortable going live because that was the week I went to the Berlin game. So week 9 came, and that was the Berlin game. I actually was at the Berlin game. I don't know if I told you guys that on stream. I went to the Berlin game. That was the Falcons and the Colts Berlin game, the one where Jonathan Taylor went crazy. I was there, front row. And so I actually didn't watch all the games that weekend. And so I came back and I was like, man, I'm not like ready, prepped to give advice for this week. And then that's the very next weekend, or no, 2 weekends after that, I was at the Madrid game. Shout out to the Falcons who were actually going to Madrid to play this year. So I saw the Falcons in Berlin, and I saw the Madrid game, and I sat first row. Funny story about that. I don't know if I told y'all this. I haven't been on since this, so I got stories for days on this trip. But I was actually front row at the Commanders and Dolphins game in Madrid, Spain. Front row. And when we got there early, and we saw the Commanders players, chilling out. My son asked for a Jayden Daniels jersey. We were going like, man, this game is going to be a dud. Jayden Daniels was out. Tua was out. It was like backup central, right? But we got to the game, and we were just like kind of shooting shit. A couple of players were coming up, dapped up my kids. And then all of a sudden, it was like we had a spotlight on us, bro. They started throwing the footballs to us. So like Debo was throwing the football to the players, throwing the football to my kids. They came up, the coach for Tyson, go grab the football real quick. The coach for the Washington Commanders comes up to my son and hands him the football, the game football. Literally, I have a Washington Commanders football here with me on this trip that we've been taking across the damn world with us, right? Jeremy Reeves, DB for the Commanders, comes up to my youngest son and hands him his fucking cleats, signs him right in front of him while this is all being on camera. Literally, we have a game football, Commander from the game in Spain, first ever game in Madrid, Spain. They handed us the damn football. We got cleats signed by Jeremy Reeves. The referee came up and handed us a game towel from the game. My kids my entire family was on the Jumbotron. They had us on the Jumbotron. It was literally one of the crazy experiences I've ever had. And this was at the Madrid game. The Dolphins mascot was coming up, kicking it with my family the whole time. Like the Dolphins mascot, and we was over there talking shit to him. Like it was a crazy experience. So it was one of the moments that I'm never going to forget. Like I said, the cleats, Jeremy Reeves, that's Jeremy Reeves' signature right there. Came up, game-worn cleats, handed to him, to my son. So, like, that was a crazy experience. And so after kind of going through that, it was like, man, I'm about to live it up out here, bro. About to live it up while I'm on vacation. And it was tough to work and dedicate time to, like, getting all the stats, going through, making sure I was super accurate because we were on the move. So we were in Portugal. We went to Lisbon, Portugal. Then we were in Porto for a little bit, which is like northern Portugal. So we were out there for like a month. Went to Spain, went to the Madrid game, went to Barcelona, which was dope. I think that's where I left off with you guys, was like Barcelona. And then we went to France. We went to Paris, saw the Eiffel Tower, obviously did the Louvre, like everything in Paris, France. Is you all right? You all right over there? My kids are trying to go to sleep right now, so I can't be too much longer. But went to France, Paris. We went to Germany, saw my buddy Marcus Graves. Shout out to Marcus. If some of y'all been on the page, y'all seen Marcus, me and him go back and forth. Marcus Graves is an NBA player, ex-NBA player. He plays in Germany now, so saw him out there for my 40th birthday. Went through the Czech Republic, went through Austria. Then we were in Rome, Italy. Went to the Colosseum, did that, and then decided, hey, we're going to go out to Asia. and spent some time. It was really cold and rainy in Europe. We were like, hey, let's go to Asia. So we spent time in Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and Phuket, Thailand. So basically to Thailand for like 2 months. And then now we're in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So it's been crazy experience for me. And unfortunately, when it comes to the fantasy stuff, it had to take a backseat. I love fantasy. I've been playing for years. Still was playing in my leagues last year, like just, updating my rosters and stuff. But like fantasy took a big back seat for me this year. Even fantasy hoop, like I was planning on doing fantasy hoop content. And it just got to a point I'm like, bro, like what I'm doing right now with my family is like a very unique thing that not a lot of people get to do. And personally, like it's just something that like I wanted to fully immerse myself in. So I midway through the season just was not there. So I got a couple more months that I'm spending overseas. I'll be back in the U.S. Shit, with the way things are going right now, hopefully I'm back in the U.S., but I can make it back there. But yeah, my plan is to be back in the U.S. around May and then turn up. So sorry you were looking for the advice and I wasn't here, but your boy was living life a little bit. You know what I'm saying? The fantasy stuff I've been doing, but I've also been like running my own business for the last 10 years. And, doing the kid thing. I had young kids at an earlier age in life. I was 24 when I had my first kid, 24, 25, I can't remember. But, doing the kid thing for a while. So this was good to be able to do this experience with my family. And like I said, I still got 2 months of vacation. So Hampton and Jetty thoughts. I think Hampton, like I said, I think if I had to pick one next year, I probably will go with, I don't know, because Genty with Kubiak is going to be crazy. Genty with Kubiak, I hope that they don't run a committee, which they've talked about. So I'm curious to see what running back they bring in. Like obviously Mostert's gone, but like I'm curious to see if they bring in a legit back or if they bring in like an older back that's really not going to do much. Like if they bring in another capable back or they draft another back, I'll be very, very concerned. Very concerned. Lemon looked lights too. He was on that podium like a snake in the grass. Nah, man. Hey, I don't know how I feel about Lemon. We're gonna find out. Like I said, I'm gonna have my rankings and shit up, and then Hampton. I think Hampton's ready. Jay turning to Carmen San Diego, legit, your boy has been. I'm telling you, I've been out here. This is Tony, by the way. I don't know why it shows my username, but I've been regular. Oh yeah, what's good, Tony? I was born in Vietnam. So cool to hear that you're traveling, man. How are you traveling for 6 months? Traveling for 6 months because, put things in place to be able to do that. Like I said, homeschooling my kids and, taking care of business on my end to make sure that I'm able to do that. So, but yeah, Vietnam, I wish we talked about visiting Vietnam. I got a couple more stops on the way. We're not going to make it to Vietnam. That would have been a very cool thing. I heard nothing but cool things about Vietnam. It's funny because when you're in the U.S., you don't really hear about Southeast Asia in a very positive light. You don't really hear about like Thailand and Malaysia and Vietnam. It kind of sounds like I would never go to those countries. It's too far to fly. I'm like, shit, if you could find a way to make it out to Southeast Asia, the people out here are extremely nice, hospitable. Everything is affordable. It's not like this city I'm in right now has the second largest building in the world in it. The second largest building in the world, the largest twin towers in the world in it. Plenty of malls. Like when we were in Bangkok and even out here, I mean, you could literally go to a 6-story mall with car dealership inside of it. All the luxury, I'm talking like Dior, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, everything. All that shit is inside these malls. They have movie theaters inside the mall. It's crazy. Like you hear fireworks going off right now somewhere. I don't know if y'all can hear that. The fireworks are going off right now. Like I said, it's 10:45 at night. My first night here, fireworks are going off till like 1:30 in the morning. So, but yeah, man, it's a cool experience. Southeast Asia is lit. It's lit, man. I wish we could spend more time out here, but I'm out after next month. What up, Falcon family? I don't know about Falcon family, but hey, I got respect for the Falcons, man. I kind of like the Falcons are like a secondary team for me. You know what I'm saying? But my favorite team is the Commanders. I'm a Commander. Hey, since I ain't been on stream in a while, I'm no longer a Niner fan. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. After that experience they give my family, man, I am a Commanders fan. So I've become a fair weather fan, not because of fantasy, but just because of the experience, man. I'm a Commander fan now. have you considered moving for good or coming back to U.S.? And yes, I try to make decisions as a J-Hand fan myself as much as I could. Good. I would say, like, hey, that's a dub, because at the end of the day, if you're able to use the information, kind of hear my voice in the back of your head, or maybe just make decisions on your own or find the right type of person to help you out, that's all that matters. All I really care about is helping you guys win your leagues. That's legit the only thing I want to do. So I'm glad you were able to think for yourself, make decisions as much as you could. But yeah, I'll be back. Yeah, wild story, bro. Like, it's crazy. We went to a game. I'll talk about that another time. I went to a hockey game. Somebody asked me about the hockey game we went to in Salzburg, Austria. You'd never guess. Salzburg, Austria. I'll tell that story another time. I got stories for days out here. Told my boys that you gave the best advice for fantasy last year after the draft, and they kept asking where the TikTok and YouTube videos were. That being said, thoughts on USA versus Iran? Holy shit. Ain't that a segue? Goddamn. He said, told my boys about you. Thoughts on the World War that could potentially turn into much more. Yeah, man. Good thing maybe they're not expecting anything from me now after gatekeeping, and maybe your boys ain't looking for me now. So more props for you, more benefit for you. Thoughts being said, thoughts on USA versus Iran. That I don't got no issue with Iran. I don't even know why we're at war, to be honest with you. But I've kind of been on this side of things, and unfortunately, I know what's going on, but I don't know what's going on. I've literally kind of been tuning out. Like, I don't get force fed the news the same way that I do, like in other, when you're in the U.S. and I don't really talk to nobody about that out here. So I don't really know as much like the reason why we're even at war right now. I don't. And I know, we're bombing, and I know that they got weapons, but I don't know why we're there. So I don't really have specific thoughts on the war. I just hope that it ends sooner than later, because I don't know that we need a war right now. That's where I'm at, USA versus Iran. So I don't want my people to be in trouble, and I don't know that we need to be in trouble. So I'm not a politics page, but that's my thoughts on it. I don't have enough information to really comment on it. So yeah, I don't know. Chat can talk about that. I don't really know. That's my opinion on it. I don't really have one because I'm not knowledgeable enough on it. So keep Moore in the 4th or Olave in the 8th this upcoming season. We'll talk keepers a little bit later, but I think Olave is safe to keep with Tyler Shook kind of playing the way he did last year. I'm leaning a little bit more towards value with Olave in the 8th. All right, a couple more, and then I got to get off stream. I'm actually heading out to a city called Langkawi tomorrow. Langkawi, Malaysia. They call it the Hawaii of Asia. So I'll be out there for about the next week. So you guys won't see me on stream for like another week. I'll tell you guys about that when I get back. Happy for you, man. Traveling is great. Family comes first. Fantasy can wait. I look for you, but I knew you had a good reason. Can't wait for this coming season. I'm telling you, it's a revenge tour. I don't know how else to say it. It's a revenge tour. It's a revenge tour. I'm very upset. I'm very upset about last year, and I could blame it on a lot of things, but I'm upset because I got a couple major things wrong, and I think it was just because of process. Like, one that I'm really upset with myself about is Brian Thomas. That's probably the one that I'm like the most upset about, because I pushed him into the first round in my rankings, and I got excited for the possibilities, but I didn't lean enough into the risk. And so when I got excited about the upside, I took away a lot of the J-Hen principles that I normally go with, because I think the year before I adjusted too much. So now I'm kind of upset with myself and how I did last year with a few players. So I will definitely be on a revenge tour next year. I will hit a lot next year. And I'm moving to a state where betting is legal. Put it that way. I was in California. I've been in California my whole life. I'm moving to Arizona, so it's up. It's up. Where do you see Drake London go for ADP? I think he's probably going to go second round, but I think he's well deserving of like back end wide receiver 1. Done with Alvin Kamara depends on his situation. I'm not really with I'm not done with Alvin Kamara. It's just where does he go and start? Like he's still to me, he's still good. It's just I don't think the league thinks of him as a starter anymore, and he's better with like minimal touches. So I think Saints will probably get rid of him this year. I don't think he remains with the Saints this year, but if he does, I don't know. It depends on where he goes in the draft. I'm probably not going to take a lot of Alvin. Unless he's going real late. Then I'll scoop him up as like a RB4, maybe RB3. But I think Alvin Kamara maybe has another year left. Maybe. Brian Thomas was a bust for us all. Yeah, I think Kamara too. T-Law went crazy in the second half. Yep. ETN was great. Javonte was value. We had a lot to cover. We do have a lot to cover, and I think I hit on more than most probably like realize, but I also missed kind of early. I missed kind of early, especially on like my fades. Like I was like fade JSN, fade Puka. It kind of made me think like I can't like go full fade on players. It doesn't make sense. It's just like I gotta be a little bit better than that. But I mean, like you hit on Trey McBride over like Brock Bowers, and like I can think of a lot of wins. It was just the L's are really they spoke to me because I missed on the top 2 receivers last year. And I know like I said, you can blame it on a lot of things, but missing on the top 2 receivers is that's not. I don't like doing that. So we hit on like Drake, man. We talked about like there's a lot we could talk about positively. It's just, and I don't want to focus on the negatives. It's just, I'm coming for revenge next year. So anyway, it's been real, y'all. I'm about to get off stream, man. Like I said, it's nighttime where I'm at. I'm about to catch some Z's. Hopefully y'all, you know what I'm saying, had enjoyed the stream, enjoyed kicking it. I'll be a lot sharper in the next couple of months. But yeah, it's a little update on what I got going on, update on free agency. If you guys got questions about fantasy, dynasty related, redraft related, whatever it is, drop it in the comments. I'll try to answer it on the next show. But yeah, man, y'all tap in. I'll probably be back sometime next weekend, maybe around this time. Y'all be easy. See y'all on the next one.